A long time ago, back when you first started playing WoW, do you remember your first ever Battleground experience? Your first time killing a player? Your first time getting killed? Well, I remember. I remember mine. And so today, I'm going to share with you guys a very cringy and embarrassing story of my first ever time doing a Battleground and fighting the Alliance back in vanilla WoW. So let's get started. Now, this was before I actually got a World of Warcraft account. If you guys have watched my video where I've told you guys my World of Warcraft story, my friend Ben had World of Warcraft, and I would go over to his house sometimes, and there was a character that he let me make on his account, and I'd get to play it for like 30 minutes or an hour or something, and then he would kick me off his computer. But you know what? Despite that, eventually, after a number of times playing the game for an hour or so, I got to level 10 on my undead warlock, my glorious undead warlock, and I did the class quest and I got my Void Walker. Now understand that hitting level 10 and getting a Void Walker as a warlock back in the day, that was the big cheese, man. That stupid little imp was a bitch to deal with, but once you got the Void Walker and that thing could taunt enemies and stuff and keep them off you, the Void Walker was the coolest thing in the world. I felt like I was unstoppable. And so you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to do a motherfucking Battleground. Me and my Void Walker versus the world. I ran over to the Battle Master in the Undercity. I queued up and I sat there and I waited. Now, back before I started playing WoW, I had heard about Warsong Gulch. And I remember that one day I went over to my friend Ben's house, and before he let me play, I showed up at his house and he was doing Warsong Gulch, but I only watched like the last minute or so of it, and then it was over. So I knew nothing about this Battleground. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what the objective was. I didn't know that it was capture the flag. I knew nothing. I was going in completely blind. All I knew is that it was Horde versus Alliance and players were going to kill each other, and I was excited. I waited in queue by the Battle Master. A guy walked up to me in the Undercity and he called me a punk bitch and said that I looked stupid. It was awesome. When I stepped into Warsong Gulch for the first time, it was intimidating. Here I am. I've never been in this thing before. My heart is beating. My hands are shaking. I'm surrounded by all these level 19 Horde players, Tauren druids, and undead rogues with enchants on their weapons and stuff. All these twinks and stuff. I'm just a simple level 10 warlock in a big man's world. But you know what? I summoned my Void Walker, and I was ready for battle. And you can probably already see that I've made my first mistake. I ran right into the center of that Battleground, and I remember very vividly that there was a dwarf paladin, and I started to attack him. I sent my Void Walker after him. Go, Void Walker, go! And the dwarf paladin just ignored him and ran towards me and killed me. Okay, well, you know, whatever. So I ran back into the center again, and I sent my Void Walker after another player, and I got killed by them again. They just ignored my Void Walker. So I died and I waited and I rezzed, and then I ran back into the center, and once again I send my Void Walker after a player. Might have been I kind of remember maybe a hunter or something. Might have been a night elf hunter, I don't know, but I send my Void Walker after another player. It starts attacking him. That player turns around, starts shooting me or whatever, and I die again. Now, I started to get a little frustrated because I had been using my Void Walker out in the open world, right? And he had been taunting, you know, the mobs, and the mobs would be fighting and killing the Void Walker rather than focusing on me. But this wasn't happening in Warsong Gulch. I remember very vividly the next time before I died, I sent my Void Walker after a player, and I started manually clicking that taunt ability that the Void Walker has, but the player was just ignoring the thing and just attacking me. Now, I didn't know how taunts and all that stuff worked back then. I didn't understand. So I just thought the game was bugged or whatever, so I just switched to my imp. I just got rid of the Void Walker, took the imp out, and, you know, whatever. So as I'm doing the Battlegrounds, people are saying, get the flag, we gotta get the flag. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I can get the flag because at one point I was actually kind of deep in Alliance territory. I was up near the base. So I ran into the Alliance base. I was all alone. There was nobody around, and I grabbed the flag. Now, I thought that when you got the flag, you got a point. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a point. Yeah, like when I'm running up to the flag, yeah, I'm going to get it. but I don't get a point. I just have a flag on my back. And I don't know what to do. I have no fucking clue what to do. So I thought in my head, that, okay, if you have the flag, all you gotta do is maybe you just hold it for like a minute or something, and then you get a point. You just gotta hold the flag. I didn't even know this was capture the flag or anything. So I was like, okay, I just gotta hold the flag. So I need to find a place to hide. So I ran outside of the Alliance base, because you can't hide in there because that's the Alliance base. I ran outside, and there was like some trees and stuff on like the eastern side of the map behind that little building with the buff in it. I just ran into those trees and I hid behind a tree. I just like hid in like a little spot over there in a corner, and I just stood there. I didn't know what to do. And people in the chat, they were like, Warlock, what are you doing? Like, move, like, go, move, get out of there, move. And I'm sitting there like, I'm hiding. Like, what are they talking about? And I didn't know how to talk in Battleground chat either. I just knew how to talk in /S. So I couldn't really say anything to them either. So I was just very confused at all these people yelling at me to move. So I just eventually was like, okay. So I stepped out of my hiding spot and ran out into the open, and I died. And I lost the flag. And then the Alliance scored a point. So people started mocking me, to say the least. They started calling me an idiot and calling me a complete noob and all that stuff. And the best part was when I finally did res after getting killed with the flag on my back, there was a level 19 human rogue twink. Yeah, he was all decked out in the Defias set. He might have even had the Shadow Blade from Shadowfang Keep. You remember the Shadow Blade or Shadowfang? Was it called Shadowfang or Shadow Blade? I don't remember. It's been a long time. But the Shadow Dagger from Shadowfang Keep, he might have even had that too. But that guy was just one-shotting everybody that was rezzing in the Horde graveyard. I died so many times, getting backstabbed by that rogue, getting shot by hunters that were standing down there shooting at us from down below. I died so many times. We stood no chance. And you know what? It was glorious. We lost the Battleground, and oh, it was all my fault. Or at least it felt that way. But you know what? It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Right after that Battleground was over, I did it again. And then my friend Ben came in and said, get off my computer. I want to play too. And then I had to watch him play for a few hours. So, but you know what? Warsong Gulch was great. It was amazing doing it for the first time. And when I finally got my own account at my house, when I finally convinced my mom and dad to buy me or like set up a World of Warcraft subscription for me and get me a good enough computer, yeah, you better believe I spent days just doing Warsong Gulch. It was so much fun. But that's it, guys. That's my story. That's my embarrassing first Battleground experience back when I was a noob and didn't know anything. And those were the good old days, man. But what about you guys? Did you guys have an embarrassing first Battleground experience as well? Did you guys have did you guys have like a super embarrassing PvP story that you want to share? Leave it down in the comments section down below, and I will be back with more silly World of Warcraft stories from my time playing the game. Thanks for listening / watching, everybody, and I will see you all very soon.